here's what I want you to do. I want you to look at 9.1. Okay? And when you look at the circuit here, you want to look at the capacitor's behavior and see if you can write down 2 KVL equations and see what you expect DC to look like at t equal to infinity. Will it agree with our equation here? Okay, let me give you a chance to look at that example. Okay, so see if you can just set up KVL and KCL. Okay, let's do this. Okay. And so what I typically do, the way I solve these circuits, is I just keep moving horizontal. Okay? And what you're going to start to see here is that I'm going to start to take multiple steps and just start to clump them all together. There's 3 of those steps that I can write all, not in a single step. You will be in the future. But let's just look at this thing. So I got to relate what? Got to relate that current to that current. Follow the current. Look at what the current is doing. Current is what? IL. And then what happens at this node? The current splits. So write KCL at that node. So what do I write? So KCL tells me what? IL equals IC plus the current across the 100 ohm resistor. Okay? And then the very next one is KVL. So I have to relate this guy to that guy. So if I look at this, look at the polarity of this guy. This guy is what? VL. Okay? So the only way I can relate the polarity is if I go on the outside of the loop. If I relate this guy to that guy, I got to go on the outside of the loop. Follow the outside of the loop. So it's got to be what? V source. It's got to be transferring energy to all of these. So here we go. V source must equal what? Voltage across the tube. Voltage across the inductor. Voltage across the capacitor. Okay? Then the next step is it says what? I need to focus on these. So we are on example. And so if I look at the circuit here, so typically, I just only write L and C for inductors. For real inductors, for real capacitors, these things are nasty. In general, these will be milli, these will be micro. You carrying those numbers, well, it's not worth it. I'll tell you that right now. The only numbers that I carry, in general, are nice numbers. And I don't know if these are nice numbers until I start putting them out. And what we're doing here is that we're looking for this voltage right here. So my job is to go in and derive this thing. So, here we go. Let's think in horizontal spaces, as I said. First step is what? I want to solve for the voltage of the capacitor. So what do? I write x1 equal to IL, x2 equal to VC. This seems silly, but until you get your thinking set up, this is going to be very useful. And then, what am I going to do? Next step, I'm going to use KVL, KCL. I'm going to replace the capacitor current, the inductor voltage, just like we talked about before. Here we go. So then I go, okay, KCL, KVL. And then I start moving here. So I look at this here. How do I relate that current and that current, right? So I'm asking this question. How do I relate this current and that current right there? The only way I can do that is at this node right here. I look at that node and I think the current here has to be the sum of those currents. So let's write it down. So I write what? IL equals what? The sum of these two currents. So it's got to be IC plus I100. The next thing I do is that I got to rewrite all of the resistor values in terms of either IL, VC, VL, or IC. Those four variables. So I look at this guy, I'm going to replace this one. I look at that one, I'm going to replace that one now. Here we go. So then I get what? This guy is C, dV, dt. And I look at this 100 ohm resistor and I say, what do I know about this 1 ohm resistor in terms of the capacitor and inductor? You see that these two are parallel, so what do I write? VC over 100 according to Ohm's law. So now I get IL. That's my first equation right there. So what you're seeing here is that I did steps 2, 3, right across this thing. And I just kept going like, how do I keep rewriting them? I'm going to do the exact same thing with KVL. So now my job is to relate what? That voltage and this voltage right there. So you could see that the only way I can relate this guy and this guy is if I go on the outside loop. So let's write it out then. Here I go. So then this source is supplying all of these voltages. So then I'm going to write the voltage across the source should be the voltage across the 2 ohm, the voltage across the inductor, the voltage across the capacitor. So now I look at what do I got to change? I got to change the 2 ohm resistor. I got to change that guy. Let's go look at the 2 ohm resistor. The 2 ohm resistor, when you look at it, is in series with the inductor, so they must be the same current. So then the current of the 2 is the same as that. So then I come over here. I replace this guy now with 2IL. And then I come over to the voltage of the inductor, and I know that I use that voltage of the inductor equation, and I rewrite that, and then finally I get VC, and this is VS. I have two equations. Now note, I'm not really thinking in terms of steps. I'm thinking KVL and KCL. And I'm thinking of the whole circuit all the time. So now the next thing that we want to do here is we want to identify equation 1, equation 2. How do I identify it? Right here. When I look at the derivative of equation 2, parameter 2, no derivative here, a derivative here. So this is equation 2. This is equation 1. Why is equation 2 important? It turns out that it's going to be really useful for the initial conditions right here. So now I'm going to what? Sub in 2 into 1. Now note, when I do that, note there's not a lot of information. What is it that I'm doing? Look at this in terms of algebra terms. What does algebra terms say? I want to get only VC in one equation. So I go to equation 2, and that means I'm going to take that IL and I'm going to plug it in here. When I do that, I get rid of all of the VCs. Excuse me, the ILs. Right? So in terms of algebra, now note, I can't really think of this as algebra because it's not algebra. It's differential equations. But in terms of algebra, I replace IL into equation 2 to get rid of IL. So it's just like an algebra problem, not a differential equation problem. So we plug that guy into here, and here we go. So I get VS, right? I see I got IL here, I got IL here, so I'm going to plug those guys right in. So then I'm going to get what? 2IL, So here's IL, so I'm going to get C dV dt plus VC 100. Then I get the second term here. I'm going to get plus L, and then I got to take the derivative of this whole thing now. So I'm going to take the derivative of this whole thing, so it's got to be what? The derivative of the first term is going to give me C, the second derivative of VC. So I'm going to get C, there's the first term, and then I take the derivative of this guy now, which will be 100 dV dt. So now you see that everything is in terms of VC. So now I'm going to clean it up. What do I mean by clean it up? There's typically one form that I always go for, what I typically call proper form. What is proper form? I got to isolate dV dt squared of VC. So what I'm going to try to do now is that I'm going to try to put into proper form. And that means isolate the second order derivative term. Whatever that is, I isolate that term. Yes?
Did you forget your VC? This should be 2 IL plus L. Yeah,
I'll need that.
VC.
Thank you. You're absolutely right. There's one term VC right there. Thank you. So now, what I'm going to do here is, because there's a lot of algebra here, I'm going to isolate this term, and then I'm going to divide by LC. So let's do that. So now, there's only one term here. By the way, when I did many particle physics calculations, I had a colored pen, and what I would do then, is as a trick here, I would try to focus on the terms that I have to add. So then I would come in, that's one term, then I do, because there are so many damn terms, then I would say 2 slashes, tells me those 2 terms are the ones I'm going to add. What other term am I going to add? Maybe I came with a different color and I said, there's a VC term here, there's another VC term here. So it allows me to focus on which terms have to be added. So here I go. I get the first term. I'm going to get LC. So now I'm going to focus on the dV/dt term. So if I do that, look at this now. I got 2C. And then I focus here, and I'm going to get 1 over 100. And then finally, I'm going to focus on the red, so I get 2 over 100. So it looks like I'm going to get 2 over 100 plus L over 100. dC equals to dS. And so, in the end, I got to divide by LC, and then my proper form means that it's got to be this. And then this is what I would call my second order condition.
Could you get the L over 100 multiplied by the VC term?
So
Shouldn't this be 1?
I don't know where I got that either. It should be 1. Thank you for the correct.
100 over 100 then, right? Because we're just adding VC in our previous equation.
Let's see here. So I got VC here, it's 2 over 100. And then I got 100, I don't know where I'm getting that from. It should be 1. So, just to keep it, the notation clean, yes.
And then I think on the d by dt, I think you're missing a L over 100.
Okay, I was putting it on the other term. Thank you. Right, so this should be L over 100. Now, if you look at these numbers, just to show you the nightmarish of real circuit components, look at this. LC I mean, that right there is what? Millihenries times micro. So in the end, that's 10 to the 9, negative 9. And when I bring it up, I got 10 to the 9. That's a big ass number, as we would say. So if you go and you look at the thing here, look at the numbers that you get. Right? If I now put in the numbers, I'm going to get this equation right here. Then I'm going to get 1.02 times 10 to the 8 VC, and this will be 10 to the 8 VS. So in the end, these are the numbers that I get. And one of the really most beautiful things that I think in this course, in 2 weeks, we got our big lab. I think it's the most challenging lab of the semester without a doubt. We're going to go in and we're going to calculate a second order circuit from scratch. And then these numbers have meaning. And you'll see we're going to go in and we're going to measure it. And my experience is that 90% of you will be under 5% on all of these measurements. And remember, this is what? Step 1. Okay, step 1. How do we know that equation is good? Damn well, we got to check it, right? When this goes to steady state, what's it going to be here? Well, it's got to be what? Well, that goes to a short. The voltage of this guy is that guy, so the current, the voltage across this guy must be the voltage across the capacitor. So now, let's look at t equal to infinity. At t equal to infinity, I look at that circuit, it's got to be Vs. I got a resistor, and this guy is Vc, which is the same as V100. And that guy is 2 ohms. So I could use voltage divider rule to get what that voltage is, right? So that's a 100 ohm. So we could see that V100 has to be 100 divided by 102 times V source. Okay? And what number am I going to get? Well, this looks like that's what? A little under. Did I calculate this? Well, it's really 1.02 over 1. How about if I do that? That's the easier way to do that. Right? That's what this thing is telling me. So V at infinity should be this right here. Let's go look at the equation. At steady state, Vc goes to a constant, which I'll call B. So now, if I take that constant and I plug it into here, look at this. This will be 0. That will be 0. And then I'm going to get 1.02 times 10 to the 8 times B times 10 to the 8 times B, times B source. And you can see why I ended up writing it that way. Look at that. That cancels out with that. And look at what B is here. B is going to equal to what? V source times that. And you can see that this agrees with our simple circuit techniques.